Alright, here we go. This is a video about my a little aquaponics system that I have set up in my dining room of my apartment. Here's a shot of the fish. The fish looking pretty healthy. They actually have grown quite significantly since I got them back probably about 4 months ago. I bought them from the pet store, and they were tiny little feeder fish, as you can see, little guys. And so far, they've actually done very, very well. The first time I ever put fish in the system, I didn't account for the fact that it hadn't cycled through yet, and unfortunately, those fish died very quickly due to lethal levels of ammonia. So here's a full shot of the whole system as it stands right now, and then kind of like a little video that I recorded when I first put it all together on the shelf. And as you can see, things have gotten uh, quite messy, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. Very disorganized. There's random things kind of everywhere. Um, I didn't really account for a lot of the lighting that was coming through the window during the summertime just because of the angle that the window is at. So a lot of the plants weren't able to grow due to the lack of sunlight. Um, but the fish seem to not mind at all. I actually feed them a gel feed. Um, that comes in a powder, and then you just mix it with water, similar to Jello, and it's actually helped them grow pretty healthy, and it's really easy to use, very convenient, especially with portion control and all that stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, just looking around the system, you'll see there's just a couple plants in soil right here. There's catnip in the front, and then in the back there's some cherry tomatoes that I actually grew from some seeds left over from some cherry tomatoes that I had last year. They found their way growing outside of the blinds there. Get quite a lot of sun. In here, there's just a lot of mess, as you can see. There's some lettuce plants in the back there that I actually got from upstairs and brought them down after I harvested them. And then here, the only thing that's actually really growing in this part is the turmeric, which grew from just a small thing. You'll see it a little bit later, the piece of turmeric root. But as you can see, it's growing very healthy. Doesn't need a lot of sunlight. It's actually a shade plant. And then, of course, the one leaf that, for some reason, found its way to grow through one of the loops of wire coming out of the little LED strip lights that I made. I don't know how it grew like that, but what are the chances? And then over here in the deep water culture area, you have some little bits that got moved around. On the left there, you have a lettuce that I grew until it went to seed. Up here is just one of the many pepper plants that I just randomly put everywhere. And then, of course, my legendary cactus, which has a fun story. And then over here, you have a bunch of silver vine. This is just some stuff that I've been growing. And then we'll just go into a time lapse of me kind of cleaning up the joint, trying to move things around, wipe things down, kind of stuff that should be done every couple weeks or so that I do not do. So every month or so is fine. Um, and this is actually the part where I will start like taking stuff out, moving stuff around, after I cleaned everything up, just to kind of figure out where everything's going to go. I might try to change around the way that I plant things in here due to the sunlight, because this window, like I said, gets a lot more sunlight during the winter time than it does during the summertime, just because of the angle that it's at. Got some peppers over there. Those peppers actually grew from seed. Did not do too well. I think it got some mite damage. Here I am just cleaning up some stuff, clearing out a bunch of the little bits here and there, and then just trying to get everything organized. Here I am cutting that poor little guy. Did all he could to grow through there. I just had to cut him out because I wouldn't be able to separate him from the lights, obviously. And as you can see with these little pebbles, plants are really like they're stuck in there. They grow really well as long as they've grown in there for a while, but they're actually really easy to remove, a lot easier than dirt. And then here's the little piece of root that I actually got from a package I bought at Publix of some turmeric root. You just stick it in the little pebbles as long as it's not like soaking in the water. But due to the way that this part grows. There's nothing soaking in water except unless it's like 6 inches down. But yeah, as you can see, the roots are very, very healthy. They aren't bound up or anything like that. They grow through the pebbles pretty easily. They don't really hold on to anything, so it's actually very easy to separate. Great way to start plants if you're gonna start plants inside and then move them out to a garden outside or anything like that, because the roots are very, very healthy. There's actually two different plants here, as you can see. The one on the left there is a lot more mature than the one on the right, but you can actually see the little pieces of root that are actually going to start growing the little tubers. This is where they would actually grow the turmeric root that you would use in cooking. I haven't quite developed a taste for turmeric in cooking yet. It's a little too, I don't know, it's got a very specific flavor. And you can actually chop up the green parts towards the base of the leaves, so you can actually use the leaves as well in cooking if you'd like, but I still, like I said, haven't developed a taste for it. It tastes too green for me, too much like grass, I guess. But yeah, as you can see, all the little pebbles, just shake them out, and then you can put that in dirt and grow it. I've got the lettuce here. As you can see, I chopped off all the leaves. This was actually growing upstairs in my little hydroponic system upstairs, and then I harvested it for a little salad, and then put the rest of it in there, just to see what it would do. Sometimes it'll grow out to seed, and then I could save the seeds if I really wanted to. But since I'm moving things around at this point, I'm not going to wait for it to get to seed or anything like that. So here I'm just pulling some stuff out, and as you can see, it's very easy to just reset everything back to the way you originally had everything, nice and clean. The little bits of like leaves and roots in there are not too big of a deal. They will decompose. You can actually also get compost worms in there to help them decompose, and the worms are able to move around between the wet and the dry layers of the medium, and decompose everything. Yeah. So here I'm just cleaning up the big pieces that would take forever, and just kind of getting set to move everything back around. And I think I'm just gonna do a separate video showing the system as it is, to kind of go into detail of how everything works and at least what I know of it. I'm definitely no expert. In the back here, you'll see actually some duckweed that had spilled out from the container, and unfortunately, I lost most of it. But since it got stuck on these little pebbles, as you can see, they actually grow pretty well on it, ironically enough. So I was able to wash off some of that and maybe grow some more duckweed. Just a nice little plant to have around. Then back to the time lapse, kind of showing me cleaning out everything. One of the main reasons why I was trying to move this system around is just that it doesn't get a lot of sunlight onto the actual grow bed there. It gets blocked by either the blinds themselves, just the angle that they're at, or the aquarium there on the top. So I just need to clear up some vertical space for anything that I want to grow, and maybe if I put some actual like LED lights like I have upstairs on the system down here, definitely things would get a lot more light and grow better. Also need to consolidate the little LED panels that I had made, just so I can get most use out of them. So here I am just moving the shelves around. I actually really enjoy this type of shelving because it's very, very customizable. Basically any way that you want to put them. The only problem is the way that I have it set up, since they are all together. I do have to take them off, one at a time and move things around to try to get the most use out of it. One other thing that I need to look into is just the siphoning system that I use for the fish tank, just to keep the water level the way that it's meant to be. Is not very efficient. It does tend to drop the water level pretty significantly, and sometimes not significantly to the point where it will overflow. And the last thing that you want is for the system to overflow with water. Luckily, the way that I have it set up, it just kind of drips back down into the grow bed there. But there's a lot of splashing involved, and that's just not a good thing. Not definitely not a good thing to have in an apartment. Water just spilling everywhere. So here I am just moving some stuff around, disconnecting the power cables and removing the little LED panels. One thing that was the hardest part of moving this whole system around is the fish tank itself. It's not a very easy thing to lift, and I'm always scared of breaking the glass of the tank, and it's just very, very heavy because water is actually a lot more heavy than you would imagine it to be when you have it all, in like a container like that. So here I am disconnecting the little filter thing, which the little siphon that drains the fish tank. Um, just disconnecting all the tubes that go in. One thing that I had an issue with was the clear vinyl tubing that I was using was getting really clogged up with algae growth. So I switched over to these black tubes, and since then I haven't really had a significant issue with any clogs or anything like that that I know of. It's also just very difficult to see if it's actually clogged or not. One of the benefits of the vinyl tubing, the clear vinyl tubing, was that you could see where the clog was and kind of help clean it out. Here I just have to kind of guess where the clogs are. But I get the fish tank off and move everything around and hopefully don't have to cut any more vinyl tubing because I like to use what I have and not have to cut any more than I need to. And then I just kind of guess where a good level is. I probably should have left a little bit more space on the right hand side for the grow lights to get over the deep water culture area of the system. But I also didn't want the fish tank 6 feet in the air, so I could actually feed them pretty easily, and you can see the fish. And one of the reasons why I got the glass aquarium was so that it just looked like a regular aquarium plus plants. So a change of angle, just showing me reattaching everything now that I have everything moved to where it needs to be. The little siphon to get all the water out of the fish tank goes in first, and as you can see, the little filter sock that I have over top of it actually gets filled with air, and I have to knock out the air inside of it. But I put everything together, kind of find out that the tubes don't fit the way that they did when it was moved around, so I have to move around some of the tubes in the way that I drain the system, which I might have to change around one more time, but I'll probably show another video of me doing that at a later date. Yeah, so just moving the tubes around, kind of getting a feel of how everything's gonna look, how everything's gonna work, and just trying to get it all back the way they're supposed to. Here I am knocking the air out of the little filter sock thing that's over top of it. This design is not super efficient, and I'm actually gonna redesign a different kind of drain that hopefully should keep the water at the same level. This one actually like raises and lowers as the pressure of the water on the filter down in the sump tank increases when the grow bed drains. The water pressure increases, and it causes the water level in the fish tank to increase as well. So sometimes that's what causes the tank to overflow. And as you'll see in this little time lapse, the water level kind of stays the same for the most part, but then goes down and up and down and up, and that's just the general cycle that it goes through. It's definitely one of the most frustrating parts of the whole thing, but in the end, here it is, the whole thing. As you can see, I've got the LED panels together over the deep water culture area. Try to see how well those work. And yeah, as you can see, a lot more sunlight coming through. A little bonus clip at the end showing me just bringing the little cherry tomato plants that were growing in the window outside. Here's actually some worm compost. It's pretty disgusting to think of, but this is just just worm castings from different plants and some peat moss that I had them farmed in. It's actually really, really good fertilizer for plants. So just put a little bit in the bottom when I put the plants in, then put a little bit more on top before I put the dirt on top. Yeah, hopefully these cherry tomatoes will do pretty decently during the winter. I doubt that I'm going to get any cherry tomatoes off of them anytime soon, but yeah, just a little bonus gardening clip. I actually might make a full-length video showing how I arrange everything, kind of how I plant everything, and kind of going over these little root pouches. They're very easy to move around, and I really like them a lot. I don't think I'll ever go back to the traditional plastic pots. But anyway, that's all. Thank you for watching.